What's up? Welcome to 4Ps. Just got done getting my hair cut right here, Arizona Hair Express. Had to shout them out right because I think last time I said Amazon Express. I'm sorry, guys. It's Arizona Hair Express. And this week of 4Ps, a lot of people know that my father was featured on BlackStar's album. Some people don't know, so that's what I'm gonna feature right now. I got some old footage from my father talking about how he was featured on the BlackStar hip-hop album. Those who don't know about BlackStar, that was Mos Def, Talib Kweli. It's a classic album, and I'm pretty proud that my dad was featured on that album. Check out the video of him talking about that.
This picture. On my 70th birthday, my son Gandhi had this made for me. He lives in Atlanta, and he went to some firm in Atlanta, and he told my story. And they came up with this creation of here they got my poem, the name of my poem, One Eyed Critics. And they got the vinyl. It came out on vinyl besides the CD at that time. And this is a cover of the vinyl. And of course that's a young picture of me. But it's done up real nice. It's, of course, it's got Mos Def and Talib Kweli and the BlackStar Album. And of course, this is one of the classic classic hip-hop albums that came out of the rap movement, because it was a little different. These brothers, they was telling the story a little different. There's more, you could say, black consciousness. They use more black consciousness in their creation and their lyrics, and this made them different. They wasn't, they wasn't into the thug thing, and so I was proud to have been. And on this album, they of course used one of my poems, and I'm proud of that. I'm glad that these two urban hip-hop artists, who was really in the thick of hip-hop at that time, that they reached back and got one of my creations to include in their works. So I appreciated that they used my poem. 1971, Willie King organized a festival of new black poets.
Who is Woody King?
Woody King is a New York producer, theater producer. At the time, I think he was director of the Henry Street Theater, and very well known in New York. And he organized this reading. He contacted me and told me to do a reading, and and he wanted me to be on the program. And at the time, I was writer in resident at Caramel House. Caramel House is one of the oldest black theaters in the country. The story I'm about to tell you hooks in a lot of African American history and institutions and personalities. Anyway, I read at that festival. It's one of the, one of the really early black poetry festivals, and we were told that the reading was going to be published in a book by Random House, and that Motown Recording Company is going to do a recording of it, and it was going to be done at the Apollo Theater in New York. And so I read, and there was at that time the black poetry movement was really bubbling. It was really a hot commodity, and the Washington Post sent a reporter in photography to that reading because it was like national, it was a big national reading. The Washington Post sent a writer and a photographer there to cover the reading. And they covered it, and out of all the reports there, these were the reports they put in their, on the front page of the newspaper about the reading. And this is, it went national, and it was picked up by, this particular page I have here was published by the Cleveland Plain Dealer in Cleveland, Ohio. But it was published in like the Los Angeles Times, New York Times. And from that, Motown did a recording of it. And they put it on this album that they call Black Spirits. They came out with this album called Black Spirits, and Festival of New Black Poets in America. And that was, the host was Imam Baraka. He was the MC. And people that was on that particular album was the original last poets, Jahari Amini, Clarence Major, Kali. Kali was about a 9 to 10-year-old girl. And here's the thing about this album, I think there's about 18 tracks on it. And 10 of them were my poems. And about 4 of them was her poems. And the other artists on here just have 1 poem apiece. So I have 10 of my poems on this album. And I've been told that at the Hitsville Museum, in Detroit, you know, the Motown Museum, that when you go in that, first go in the hallway there, that this album cover is on that wall. So this album is in the Hitsville Museum in Detroit. But anyway, out of those 10 poems I had on there, one of them was called One Eyed Critics. And One Eyed Critics is one of my popular poems. I think it represents the Black Arts movement that I was active in at that time. Matter of fact, I remember writing that poem. When I wrote that poem, I was riding home. I was at a writers' conference, and we was riding back to the hotel, and there was 4 poets in there. And we just left this writers' conference, you know what I mean, fiery, you know, that's when poets was really, had a lot of militant poets. And anyway, on the way back, riding back to the hotel from the conference center that we was at, I observed this scene, and that's where I got this poem from, One Eyed Critics. And One Eyed Critics goes like this. 3:30 in the morning, with not a soul in sight, we sat 4 deep at the traffic light, talking about how dumb and brainwashed some of our brothers and sisters are, while we waited for a green light to tell us when to go. Anyway, that's the poem. And when I did it at the Apollo, Theater, I remember I got a lot of claps behind it. So I read that poem just about every chance I get. So I went back to the hotel that night, and I wrote that poem. I wrote One Eyed Critics. First time I think I read it to anyone was at a writer's workshop we did it at Kermie House back in Cleveland. But anyway, I took the printed copy and I showed it to Hoyt Fuller, who was also attending that conference. And Hoyt Fuller took it, and he asked me could he keep a copy of it, and I gave him a copy of it. And a few days later, after the conference, he got back in touch with me and told me that they were going to use it in Black World. So the first time it was printed in Black World Then of course I've always used it in Destination Ashes. I use it in Destination Ashes and Where the People in Dreams Come From. But it's an old war horse. One Eyed Critics. A lot of people remember that poem. They come up and quote that poem for me. So it's had a life of its own. Let me tell you first how I discovered that my poem had been published on BlackStar. One day I got a call from my oldest son, Eric. And Eric said, Dad, did you give two hip-hop artists in New York permission to use one of your poems? I said, no, not that I can remember. He said, well, now listen at this. And he played it for me over the phone, and it was One Eyed Critics. And not only was that, but it was me reading it. That's where we stand with One Eyed Critics. One Eyed Critics is a very, very powerful piece. The farther you can go deep into One Eyed Critics, that's you know, because what One Eyed Critics says is that we are all a part of the problem, but we also are all a part of the solution. So things are too tied together, if that make any sense.
Once again, thank you for checking out 4Ps. I'll be back next week. We come out every week. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, MONSTALUNG Sound Vision. Also, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that MONSTALUNG. Catch y'all next week.